Hello, listeners. This is Lee Price.
This is Will Ford from Football 365.
And you're listening smartly to At the Bridge Pod, a Chelsea FC podcast, although I would describe it as the Chelsea FC podcast.
Magical from Eden Hazard. Kai Havertz in the Champions League final. Ivanovic! In the middle, it's just behind him. But it's tapped in by Hakim Ziyech. Matic with the ball driver. Matic takes the net off.
It's time for another episode of At the Bridge Pod, your number one Chelsea FC podcast. Coming up on this episode,
welcome to the Last Chance Saloon, where Chelsea players are down to their final shot at redemption. Saddle up and get ready for a showdown. Oh, welcome back everyone to another episode of At the Bridge Pod. I'm joined in the virtual room filled with some lions. I've got Ollie, I've got Chris. It's the Friday show on a Friday. And of course, I want to know what you're looking forward to this weekend. And if it's the Euros final, fuck you, because I don't care, because Denmark aren't in it. Chris?
Football-filled weekend, mate.
Is it? Good, it's good.
It is. First pre-season friendly for my girls tomorrow. Melly's also playing in the age above beforehand. Then Sunday, first pre-season game for me at my new club as well. And then we all know the one thing that Mikey's most looking forward to, the Euros final.
To be fair, you said your new club. Is it Morecambe? Because we were talking off air. Morecambe listeners, keep with this. Morecambe have announced the 15 new signings in one swoop. 50. Even we haven't done that. Yes.
It's a very Chelsea move. Chelsea aren't ambitious enough to do that.
Big move. 15 new signings. Oh, hang on. Scout report. Oh, it's amazing. Ollie. You're not one of the new signings, but come on. What are you looking forward to?
It's got to be the Euros, hasn't it? I'm going to go and see my dad this weekend. And when I do that, we're going to go watch the game together, probably in a pub or something, to really get the vibe and the atmosphere. It's going to be a really good time. I think win, lose or draw. So I'm looking forward to it.
Fair play. Quite one from me. Quite one. Some bacon, some gym, nothing blockbuster. Of course, I'll watch it. I'm not going to be a dickhead. I'm going to watch it with gritted teeth and scowl at the whole time, but I'll be there. I'll be watching. Right? Oh, we're going to hit some news. Well, it's a bit of a dry desert of a week, but let's head in the elevator of Chelsea news. There's not many floors. Kepa Arrizabalaga could still be an option for Real Madrid, but he's now in talks with a club from Saudi Arabia. Chelsea has Karim Adeyemi on their list. Chelsea still appreciate Samuel Morodion and think he's one of the best strikers on the market. Chelsea are looking for a winger. Their dream is Nico Williams, but we know about the price and salary costs. And finally, the Copa America reached peak Copa America when a fight broke out between Colombian fans and Darwin Núñez. A fan even landed a punch on Darwin. True chaos, honestly. But I wouldn't mess with Núñez. He threw a chair, not very, very well, but he tried. Wasn't very good.
He did.
Yeah.
It was
a bit. It was a bit like when they botch it in wrestling, that was.
Yeah, goal celebration. It was like, yeah.
Did anyone else see? I know this isn't what you mentioned, but you said that sort of Copa America madness, and it reminded me of this. Did anyone see that piece of news this week where there was a player in Brazil who got shot in the leg mid-match by?
Oh my word! Yeah.
What? How does that even happen?
That's peak South American football. That's bizarre. I mean, like I said earlier, I mean, this week apart from that, has been the quietest week in terms of off-season news, like ever. I mean, can you imagine if we tried to do this show daily? It'd be like finding a unicorn in a petting zoo. Cucurella's agent spoke about stuff. He said that Cucurella is comfortable and happy at Chelsea and in London, and he wants to stay at the club under normal circumstances. And I'm like, okay. The Kepa news came out. Cucurella is going to stay. We're not.
People were saying that potentially Kepa might end up sort of like training with the under 21s and stuff. And for what it's worth,
that's our squad, isn't it?
Well,
that's
yeah,
the first team squad.
But in terms of the first team, I think it's wrong when teams do that. I must say, I think it was wrong when it happened to Malouda, when it happened to Anelka, when it happened to Malang Sarr, when it's happened to Kepa, when it's going to happen to Kepa. Players have stipulations and stuff in their contracts that really should stop this stuff from happening, but their union's not strong enough, I don't think, in order to do anything about it. And, of course, nobody wants to, worry about the plight of footballers. But like I don't know, it seems wrong to me. Like if you're promised that you get to train with the first team and get all the first team facilities and everything, like if you're then banned from doing that, you're like actively hampering your career. Now listen, I got no love for Kepa, but I don't know. For me, it's just wrong when they should be treated the same, should be treated fairly.
Kepa to you is Enzo to Chris. I haven't got a player yet. Not yet. I'm sure someone's going to point one out. But,
someone will come up eventually.
Yeah. Have you seen the UEFA club rankings?
Yeah.
Wow.
That didn't really make any sense to me either.
We're 9th. We're above.
Yeah. No, listen, but Villarreal is 7th.
Yeah, but what I love is West Ham are above Atletico and Barcelona and Arsenal. I was like,
the whole thing makes absolutely no sense whatsoever. And you know what really annoyed me is it reminded me that they're doing the new Champions League format from next season, and that's really going to annoy me.
We don't need to worry about that.
That's very true.
No. Anything, Chris. I know there's not a lot of news. Find something.
Do you know what? I don't think there is anything.
No.
Actually, do you know what? No, there is one thing, and it's kind of like news adjacent. If you want to hear about it. So as we all know, we've signed that 16, 17-year-old kid, Willian Estevao, right?
Oh, he's so good. Plays a game every day.
Yeah, he does, more or less. He seems to play all the time. And he does seem really, really good. But I'm starting to get a little bit twitchy about it. And the reason is because he kind of went from, everyone sort of said, who's this kid? It's just another 16-year-old or whatever, like the ownership are clueless. Nobody knows what they're doing, all this stuff that we've heard time and time again. And now, because we've seen like lots of highlights of him play and lots of good goals and stuff like that, it's kind of gone too far the other way, in my view. I don't know if any of you guys have seen this, but people like are bigging up this kid like he's going to be like the next Maradona, Messi, Pele, and he might be that in terms of he might be that in terms of a prospect. But I really worry about hyping these kids too much too soon. Like at the end of the day, like there was a game the other day where he completed something like 11 dribbles. Ridiculous, right? But it was against like Botafogo.
What?
So you're like, in one hand, you're saying, yeah, he's really good because this is a kid playing men's football who clearly is outclassing all of them over there in a country like Brazil where everyone's pretty good at football. But at the same time, like until he's done something for Chelsea, I don't think we should be hyping him this hard because we're setting him up to fail. Do you see what I mean?
We do that with all of our players, though, don't we? Let's be fair.
Yeah, but it seems like they've turned it up to 11 for this guy.
Yeah, definitely, because it's the whole thinking he's going to be Neymar, and
I am excited.
He does.
I don't think there's anything wrong with being excited because he does look exciting.
Yeah, he does.
I just worry about us like hyping this kid up to oblivion, and like what happens if next season like he just does his ACL, he's never the same again.
It's that thing though, isn't it, as well? Like I think people have got to remember that for every sort of Neymar and Vinicius Jr., there's a Robinho
or a Kennedy.
Yeah. You know what I mean? So they're either hit or miss. I'm hoping he's a hit, but
I am for the money we paid.
It is a concern that it's a lot of pressure on someone so young.
And so that's all I'm saying. I'm not saying don't be excited, don't be hyped for the kid. I'm just saying like he hasn't done anything in a Chelsea shirt yet.
No.
And we should probably reserve judging him as a Chelsea player until that time.
That's fair enough. Hey, it's time we all grabbed our Stetson hats, took a walk downtown, because today we're going to open the doors to the Last Chance Saloon. Oh yes. Oh yes.
I love that.
It's a brand new segment. How will it work? Ollie, it was Ollie's mind. I mean, we'll be discussing those who are entering a make or break here due to injuries, poor form, or other factors.
I think it was Chris actually. I think.
It's Chris. Chris, someone take it. It's now or never though, isn't it, for these players? There's a future at the club hangs in that balance. Grab a drink, order a burger. Don't make eye contact with the guy in the corner. We're going to debate who needs to step up, who has the potential to turn things around, and who might be just riding off into the sunset on a horse. Saddle up. This is going to be our classic fancy draft format. 2 selections each. It's there's a snake in my boot draft. So the order will be Chris, me, Ollie. Berth's not here, so Lone Army Carousel episode, classic, isn't it? It's never here for them.
He's ducking you, Chris. He's ducking you. I'm telling you.
He is. He's scared, mate.
So, who's entering the saloon first, Chris?
What can I just clarify something before we start?
Yeah, of course.
We're talking about players who we think are actually going to be part of the squad, right?
Yeah, of
Because
course.
we've got like Kepa, Lukaku, but they're not realistically going to be here, are they?
Lukaku's in another town along with Kepa. I mean, I don't think they're anywhere near our tavern at the moment. So
Yeah, drinking in a different bar. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, clearly I'm going to go with Enzo.
There it is, everyone. We were here for it.
Go and expand on that, Chris.
Yeah, I need more context.
Right, because so far he's flattered to deceive for the fee that we paid, and more importantly for him, I think other players have started to stand out, which makes him fade even more and almost look like make his lack of impact on the team look even worse. So you look at Caicedo, for example, he came in and in a shorter amount of time had more impact on the team. And I think that makes Enzo look worse. So I think this season, if he doesn't become our standout midfielder, I don't think people can look at him as irreplaceable. I do think he has looked, from what I've seen of the Copa America, he does look fitter and more mobile and like he can get around the pitch better. But it's another manager he's playing under as well, where if he fails under this manager, it'll be like 4 then, I think, managers that he's had, and none of them really have got a tune out of him. At that point, I just think enough people will turn around to the fact, jump on the bandwagon and say, maybe it is him. I really hope it doesn't happen. People seem to think that I'm really wishing him to fail, and I'm not. Because if he has a good season, we have a good season. So I'm really hoping that he turns it around. But if he has another poor season, I actually think there's people in the squad now who could take him out, let alone new signings.
I know what you mean. Like it feels like he's a needle mover, but in both directions, if you know what I mean. So like if he's not doing very well, like it feels like that if he is working well, like the whole team as a unit cohesively, it all works better if he's doing well. And if he's not, someone else needs to do that. Because we can't keep waiting on £100 million signing to come good, like 2 seasons in.
Yeah, I mean,
exactly.
He had that hernia, and I've got to give him some credit.
Yeah, I'll give him that.
He's got to hit it this season. He has to.
What I will say about the hernia though, as well, and people might not want to hear this. People don't like it when I say this, is that Enzo also has to take responsibility for deciding when he is fit enough to play. And I understand players always want to play. However, as a player, you have to understand when you are harming the team. And Enzo did, right? He himself came out and said that him playing through his injury was doing more harm to the team than good. And I understand that might have been Pochettino's decision or the coaching staff or whatever, even if it was partly his own as well. Ultimately, he's the one who has decisions over whether he's going to play or not. And he has to be man enough to take that responsibility and say no, even though you do want to play.
I do agree. I agree with that completely. But also, playing through injury is obviously going to affect you if you're not 100% fit. But people do seem to be using that now as an excuse for his poor form since he joined. He hasn't had a hernia the whole time he's been here. And
he was all right under Potter, I thought. He was okay. But everyone was struggling. The whole team was in flux,
He was. Potter was probably the manager who got the most out of him, but it still wasn't enough to warrant being £100 million player and everyone backing the whole future of the club on him. It's that.
I agree with that because he got more goals and assists last season.
Yeah. So Jorginho, I think it was under Lampard. No, it must have been under Tuchel. Played like the whole second half of the season, having injections in his back. But his form never dropped off that much. So it can't be an excuse for all of his poor form. It can be a contributing factor, but you can't just write off, oh, he was shit because he had a hernia. But that's not really the case, is it? Because if he wasn't fit enough to play at all, with the amount of sports science there is now, there is no way he steps foot on the pitch.
And that's what I mean. Like he ultimately, I think a lot more than people think, this probably does come down to the manager asking, are you fit to play? Can you play for me this weekend? Do you feel well enough to go? And of course, most players are going to try and say yes because they want to play. But when you have an injury like that is actually holding back your performances and therefore holding back the team's performances, you've got to take the responsibility to do it. So I want to see Enzo not only step up his performances, but take responsibility for his performances as well this season.
Yeah.
Those are fair. I mean, so let's take a look at the doors for me. Hello. Right. Who have I got walking in? It's a blonde.
Sounds like a whole fucking team.
There's a lot of players here. It's a blonde gentleman. He's got a bit of swagger. He's got a dumbbell in each hand. Oh, God. It's got to be Mykahilo Mudryk. Of course it has. Look, for me, he enters the saloon because this will be his third season with us. It is three seasons.
Jesus Christ.
Let's. I mean, it is 2.5. I know. But, well, it will be 2.5.
It's enough. It's enough.
Yeah. Look, let's throw out the excuse of he's adapting to the league. And look, I like him, I do, but I'm still waiting to see him string together consistent performances. We have seen flashes of brilliance, and then they're overshadowed by long periods of anonymity on the pitch. So for me, this season, Mudryk has to put it all together because otherwise his potential might have to be realised elsewhere.
Yeah.
Just look. I've got backup here. Look at that left side. You've got Sterling, Madueke, and Kunku. They can all play there. They can. Doesn't mean they will, but they can. And
hell, even Jackson could play there. Palmer can play.
Yeah, there. I mean, Maresca won't want a passenger. I'm staring at the bottom of a glass, hoping one day Mudryk's form will last, but form comes slow and it goes so fast. One thing I love with passion is the gym. Everyone knows that here. Everyone knows that. But Mudryk is the same. But dude, you need to slow it down. I mean, look, one thing that bugged me was he missed a game at the Euros because he picked up an injury in the gym.
Yeah.
You either need a new personal trainer there or just need to stop the ego lifting because it's so frustrating when you get an injury in the gym. And we know any other player, you could sort of shrug that off and go, happens. But we know Mudryk loves the gym and you just think there's no one sort of saying, calm down a bit. I don't know. What's your take on Mudryk at the moment?
He was actually going to be at the top of my draft list. So I'm glad you said him, Mikey, because I completely agree with you on that in terms of like the overtraining and the overworking in the gym. I appreciate he's a hard worker, or at least he appears to be. But at the same time, you have to work smart. You can't just work hard. You have to work smart too. So I worry that him overtraining is like him trying to compensate for not knowing enough about the game and not sort of understanding football to the degree that he knows where he needs to be or knows where he needs to play a pass or knows when to make a run down the line and when to cut inside. Like if it was me, I would replace his, 4-hour gym session every day with 4 hours of him just sitting in a room watching tape of wingers who are better than him. Right, Nico Williams, Gareth Bale, Neymar, just all of these wingers who can do so much with the ball. Timo Werner, even when he played out on the wing for Leipzig, all of these guys who can do so much more than he can and have done so much more than he can. But he's actually got the tools, he's got the raw materials to be. I genuinely think to be at least as good as, if not better than, all of them. Maybe not Neymar.
What do you think?
Maybe not Neymar, but it just feels like to me he just needs to focus a little less on working hard and more on working smart.
Chris?
I agree completely with both of you. My problem with Mudryk is he seems to be trying too hard to not only prove to other people, but also I think prove to himself. I don't think he's very confident because, I mean, seen the thing the other day about, doesn't Mudryk deserve credit for being back in pre-season early? No. It's his job. He's a professional footballer. Training has started and you got knocked out of the Euros 4 weeks ago.
Yeah, he's not in the final, is he? So
yeah, you should be back at training. Of course you should.
Yeah, but he didn't have to be back.
No.
But he did.
But to
they
be fair,
had to come back, didn't they?
I don't think
they had.
He could have got an extended break. God knows why. But when you cost a club 85 million and you've done nothing for 2 years, I think the least you could do is turn up.
Yeah,
so,
I agree with that.
All the gym stuff, the constant posting on social media, it's like, Mudryk, just shy away from it all. And like Ollie said, focus on studying football because you know nothing about it. So stop go into the gym, focus on your football, knuckle down, stop being some PR machine who's trying to get likes from people and trying to get everyone on board. People will like you if you play well. It's that simple. If you turn up and you play well, fans will like you.
And to be fair,
whether
he
you
gets the
posted
benefit
about the
of the
gym or
doubt.
not.
He gets the benefit of the doubt more than most because when he does have good moments, people play it forever. Like, you know, people talk about it for weeks and weeks and weeks and stuff. And again, with the overtraining and stuff like this, again, it kind of proves to me that he's a little bit not quite there in terms of the intelligence side of things. And I'm not trying to call him thick or stupid or anything. I'm just saying he maybe needs to have a bit more of a think or have some people around him who can give him better informed decisions. Because if you overtrain now, what happens when you're training every day that hard and you burn out in November? Then you're just shit until April. You know, like, it doesn't work. You need to have balance to your game.
Chris touched on something there actually about forcing it. I loved him, Fernando Torres. When he first had that bad spell, he was so forcing to try and just be that goal scorer again. It's like, just relax. I know there's pressure. I know what I'm saying, Last Chance Saloon, but you've got to. It's such a balance. I mean, I don't play football professionally, so I've got, you know, but you've got to balance it. I know you want to be good and you want to play well. Sometimes you just have to just let the game come to you. But
you do. You have to relax.
Yeah. Ollie, who's your option? Who's your man entering the saloon?
Yeah. It's for me. It's quite a simple one. He's 6'6" and he can't catch a football. It's Robert Sanchez.
Oh no.
Because the footballing situation at Chelsea Football Club has never been worse. Argue in terms of a goalkeeper right now, like it genuinely hasn't been worse in so long. Like even arguably when Kepa was here, because at least
we got Lucas Bergstrom
and was decent. Yeah, whatever. I'm sure he's great. I love you, Lucas. But the thing is, for me with Robert Sanchez, right? For the reason he's on Last Chance Saloon, the reason it's make or break for him is we bought him for 25 million quid. He's completely flattered to deceive, right? You know, he's been struggling a lot. He got his pocket picked and his spot stolen by a keeper from the MLS in Petrovic, who has been good and has done well this season, but I wouldn't say he's pulled up any trees. I wouldn't say he's pulled up any trees. And so for Sanchez, with Maresca coming in, he's going to want that ball-playing goalkeeper. He has never had more of a chance to plant himself and really make him the guy, make him the number one, make him the man to be in Enzo Maresca's system. And if he doesn't do it, he has to go. I'm not kidding, because there is never going to be a better set of circumstances for him to succeed than this coming season. And if he doesn't, he won't do it ever for us. Not ever.
Do you know why I'm absolutely convinced Sanchez is going to fail this sort of examination? Because he's not very good with his hands. Everyone seems to assume that he must be good with his feet. But actually, when you actually watch him play, he's shit with his feet.
The defense behind him, the defense in front of him always looks more shaky when he's playing the ball out.
Everyone seems to be saying that Robert Sanchez will play under Maresca because he likes a ball-playing goalkeeper. But Robert Sanchez isn't a ball-playing goalkeeper. He can't pass. If he tries to clip it out to a fullback, he puts it out of play. And the amount of times he's passed it straight to the opposition, you think, well, he's not a ball-playing ball-playing goalkeeper.
We did see him do it for Brighton. Like, so he can do it. It's just
but the thing, if you remember, he eventually got dropped at Brighton because he couldn't play.
Oh, that's so true.
Him and Maresca fell out, didn't they? De Zerbi.
What? Oh no, we've not done a Brighton manager.
Not already. No,
they did have a falling out as well, but apparently that was over. De Zerbi not being happy with his distribution.
Yeah, I can imagine that.
I honestly think I'm at a point where I think Robert Sanchez, will be given another chance as the more experienced goalkeeper. But I think by the end of pre-season, I think Petrovic will be back in.
I hope so.
I
actually hope so because for me, the thing is with Sanchez, and like I say, with him being on the Last Chance Saloon, I just can't see him winning us more points than he costs us.
I remember, I don't know if it resulted in a goal because this was a long time ago. He was at Brighton at this point, but he did a pass out from the back and it was against Man City, and I'm pretty sure it was like to Lallana or something. I remember ages back, and I'm sure it was like intercepted. And he did it. He's done it in big games as well, Liverpool, and you just think you need to stop that. Because if you're a frail goalkeeper, you're gonna, Petr Cech saved us, won us about, what was it, 10, 20 points a season, it felt like?
I think it was 12 points a season a good goalkeeper would.
Exactly.
I'd rather have a goalkeeper who's better with his hands than his feet. You can work around not having a goalkeeper who's very good with his feet, as long as he's really good with his hands.
Unless if not in a Maresca, centre-back system.
That will be the only thing.
That's the problem. We have to have a good player with feet.
It will be up to Maresca, but I do agree with Chris to a certain degree. I think to a degree, I think Sanchez and Petrovic are pretty similar on the ball. I would trust Petrovic more than Sanchez in that regard, only because he's played more in the last season. He's got more minutes. He's had more experience than Sanchez. Sanchez has had a really good amount of experience sitting on his arse on the bench. Yeah, but he's or being injured. But actually, he's not done all that much passing around.
I'll be honest though, the whole goalkeeper playing with his feet thing, I don't really understand it. I'll be honest with you. It's one of those things that I actually can't get my head around, because every single goalkeeper can pass a football 5 yards. And that's all they're ever doing. They're passing it 5 to 10 yards to a defender, or they're playing it into the deepest midfielder, who again is at most 15 yards away. They are professional footballers still. They can kick a ball. So I don't understand. I never watch a team. Ederson is the only goalkeeper I see who I think has got passing like an outfielder. Every other goalkeeper you watch, they all pass like goalkeepers. Just normal, simple 5-yard passes. So you could get any keeper to do that. Petrovic can do that.
Yeah. Well, and that's why it's going to be last. He's in the Last Chance Saloon, because if he can't do that,
Chris.
he gone. He has to go.
Yeah, you're right. I've got to hit it. I'm sorry, I missed that. I missed the line. It's not loading. Is it going to do that error? Remember when it errored before and it said, "Oh, we did." Yeah. Anyway, Ollie, come on. Two men at the bar. Come on. Who is it?
Robert Sanchez sits down at the bar and he looks over to his right, orders a shot of whiskey, and he slides it down the bar, right? And who catches it right on the end? He's got the captain's armband. It's Reece James.
He was on mine too.
He's walking in as like the old desperado into the West, who wasn't necessarily quite what he was in his heyday. But we all know that he can rediscover it if somebody just looks at him the wrong way.
He's like the Marvel Cinematic Universe.
Yeah. But do you know what? I was really tempted to put Kiernan Dewsbury Hall on here, say that you're on Last Chance Saloon since day one, but I decided against it. No, I've gone for Reece
People would have lost their mind.
I'd have lost my mind on that.
I was very tempted. But the reason it's Reece James, we all know it's partially the injuries. He's got to stay fit. And for me as well, a bit similar actually to Enzo, mentally is almost as important as physically for Reece James this season. He has to become a captain this season. He has to become someone that the team can get behind and can the team can rally around, He needs to be able to put on those performances off the pitch, and he needs to be able to tell people what to do on the pitch, right? And I don't care what it takes. He has to be able to do it. If he can't do it, either he's going to need to step back in his responsibilities, so someone else needs to take the captain's armband off him, like Gallagher ended up doing last season because he was injured most of it. Or, dare I say it, maybe if he can't stay fit and he can't mentally get himself there, is it time to start thinking about Reece James moving on? And I say that really, really hesitantly, because the second you say that, everyone dives on you and goes, he's the best, academy player we've ever had. And I get it. Yeah. I do. But for me, again, it's all about availability, but then it's all about your mental ability as well on the pitch. How well can you hold it together? And for me, especially at the back end of last season with Reece James and the way he got that stupid red card, which is going to affect the start of this season. He's missing our first game against Manchester City and the 2 games after that as well. It just proved to me that I don't know, mentally he just wasn't there at that point for whatever reason. It just like he just snapped, something went wrong, and he wasn't the captain he needed to be in that moment. You can't do that this season. It was at the back end of last season. We weren't really playing for all that much, really, in the grand scheme of things. So you kind of got away with it, but you cannot afford to do that this season. You have to step up, Reece.
Correct.
Yeah,
go on, Chris.
Well, the thing is with Reece James as well. For me, he's a bit like Enzo Fernandez. So before, when he was playing and we had Azpilicueta as his backup, when James didn't play, you've seen the massive drop off. So Reece James seemed completely indispensable because Azpilicueta was coming towards the end. He was struggling for form, and the drop off in performance was massive. We missed Reece James for most of last season, and Gusto performed just as well as he does. So he's not indispensable anymore. And I think he's not seen as indispensable anymore because Reece James probably still has a couple more attributes to what Gusto has. But Gusto is younger, doesn't get as many injuries, and proved last season that he's good enough to play. So with Reece James, I don't think he's seen as indispensable anymore by a lot of the fans and the club. The club must be looking at him as well, thinking, "Well, hold on a minute, though. We've signed another player here who's come in and done just as well as he does. If someone and we've got a player who's got a bad injury record, if someone comes in with 80, 100 million pounds, it's going to be tempting."
Yeah, good point. Good point. I can't disagree with anything either of you said. So I'm gonna look at those saloon doors again, and in walks a young man with flair. And a ball that he stole off Cole Palmer. He's got a headband on. He's got determination in them eyes. It's got to be my man, hasn't it? It's got to be Noni Madueke. And for me, he enters this saloon because this will be his make or break year at Chelsea. I mean, he's shown promise. This is like Mudryk again. He's shown promise. And the back end of last season was bloody good. But consistency has been the problem. And the reason I've put him in here is Kendry Paez and Estevao Willian are set to join in another year's time. I don't know if is Kendry just the year after? I can't remember. Anyway, they're going to be joining. I think they're joining the same year. And Madueke's window of opportunity is kind of narrowing because of it. You know, if he doesn't deliver, his game time will be severely limited in the future because both of those can and do play on that right wing.
Do you know what? Yeah. I'm not sure I necessarily agree. I do agree for the principle of that when you've got like Estevao and Paez coming in. But also, I think this season for him, I think the pressure is off a little bit.
Oh,
because of that, people aren't going to be scrutinizing him as closely. And,
but he's got to perform because otherwise he's not going to be in the squad, is he?
Yeah, but people won't be watching him as closely either, so they won't scrutinize him or praise him as quite as highly. So you do that, and then you've also got, you know, Palmer is kind of the mainstay out on that right wing anyway. So Madueke, you're right, he's got to stake his claim. But I don't know, like I feel like I don't know if it's necessarily like make or break for him. If you
maybe I did a hot take there.
I don't know. Tell us what you think, listeners.
Chris, come on, help me or don't.
No, I can see where you're coming from. I think with Madueke, I think the biggest factor is going to be Cole Palmer. I think if Cole Palmer moves into that number 8 sort of position, the sort of inside position, I think he's got a better chance to play. I think if Maresca sees Palmer as a winger, where Potts did play Palmer for most of last season, and I actually do think he performs best on the right wing, being allowed to come inside but not being restricted to playing centrally. Or I think Madueke could be done already. So
wow,
because he's not getting in ahead of Palmer. And
no.
The thing with Madueke, which I actually do really like about him, is he does have confidence and he does have that little bit of ego, if you like, where he thinks he should be playing. So I don't think he accepts being second fiddle for more than this season. I think he could be one of those players who, if he doesn't get into the first team as in like being a regular starter this season, I think he could be the one who engineers the move away, because I think he believes in himself enough that he believes he can play. And I actually think he is right. I think Madueke, in a team where he plays week in, week out, and almost he knows he's going to play week in, week out, so he can be a little bit more cavalier on the ball and make more mistakes without thinking, if I make too many, I'm going to get dropped. I think he could be really good. I think you'd see the Madueke that you get for the England under-21s.
I think he needs to be someone's Grealish, doesn't he?
Yeah, because I think with Mudryk, I think the reason why he's so good for the under-21s is he plays with a lot of freedom to make mistakes because he knows no one's going to take his place because he's outright the best one there. So there's some players who need that. I mean, Ollie Watkins is prime example at Villa. Ollie Watkins doesn't like competition at Villa. If that's why they don't sign someone who could really push his first team place, because he performs better when he knows he can have a bad game and he's still going to play. And some players like that, and I think Madueke is one of them where he would be good if a manager puts that faith in him and says, no, you're the guy, you play on that side, go and play. Because I think then you'd see a real player. I really like Madueke. I think there's something in there that I don't think we'll ever see the best of.
Oh, that's a worry for me as well. I fully agree. Chris has the final pick of the draft.
Right. Well, I've got two players who was meant to be coming out on the guys' night out and haven't quite made it to the tavern yet. So that's Lavia and Nkunku.
Oh my word! Wow, interesting shout.
They're both injured, so they didn't make it.
They got into a barroom brawl, and just.
And to be fair, my last pick isn't only a patron of the Last Chance Saloon; he's the manager there.
Wow.
Yeah, it's Raheem Sterling. I think he's been in there so long now they've made him manager. I think Sterling's going to get another crack at it. I think.
Yeah, I agree with you. I think he's going to get another go.
It's like that. It's like the Simpsons meme, isn't it? Where he goes, "Wait, you're Raheem Sterling? Yes. You're on £350,000 a week. Yes, aren't you?"
I think because the thing is with Sterling is I have no doubt that he has qualities that managers like. He does have the ability to do something out of nothing. We even seen that at the back end of last season, that he can come off the bench and have an impact. I think with the thing is with Sterling, he's too inconsistent, but a new manager won't know that yet.
Yeah.
And with the lack of options on that left-hand side, I just think Sterling's going to get another crack at it, which I haven't necessarily got a massive problem with.
Do you think, though, like the Last Chance Saloon could be like, for Sterling, because of course he is the manager there, could be the chance for him to, show that his saloon is the best damn saloon in town? Because, of course, where did he play his best football? Under a Pep-like system.
Good point.
I'm telling you now, I think Sterling is one of those players who a section of the fans have wrote off too early because he's not very likable.
You've wrote off
Dewsbury Hall.
He's not very likable.
Yeah.
That's a joke, Kiernan. We love you.
I like him, but
in Sterling though, he has actually done stuff for Chelsea though.
Has he?
He scored some important goals for us, to be fair.
Oh, okay. Sorry.
He scored the goal under Potter against Dortmund.
Oh, yeah.
In the Champions League. He scored against Man City. He scored, was it Forest away last year when he come on and got the equaliser?
He scored that really good goal against Luton as well, where he sort of like drifted inside.
Oh, yeah, of course. Yeah. My memory.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure it was the Forest game where we ended up winning it 3-2 with Jackson's header.
Yeah, Sterling did.
Yeah, Sterling come off the bench and got the equaliser. So he has the ability to do it. And I think you are right. The thing Sterling was best at was playing on the wing, but getting into the box to score the tap-ins, to finish the move off. And if Maresca plays a system similar to Pep's, which does that a lot, There's no one better in the squad
the only thing, though,
to do that than Sterling.
That's like Jesus as well at Arsenal. He was never going to be your 25 goalers.
Exactly.
He fits the City system. Go on, Ollie.
Although the only thing I will say is, from what we have heard, Maresca likes to play touchline wingers.
Ooh.
Is Sterling that anymore? He's more of a poacher, isn't he?
Yeah, but I think the thing that helps Sterling, and the reason why I think he'll get this last chance, is there's no competition.
Yeah.
Unless we make a signing, his competition is Mudryk, which is
or a 17-year-old Tyreek George.
Yeah, it's about as much competition as I would be to Mike Tyson in a boxing match.
Yeah, that's fair. Yeah, I have got an honourable mention, and I've got a little skip for it. So the doors are open again, and in walk. Oh, hold on a minute, guys. Sorry, no, hit his knee on the door. He's limping him. Oh, no, get the first aid kit. He ain't going to be able to get to the bar to order. Get a stretcher. Stretcher's needed.
Get this man a glass of whiskey and
I wrote that line as a pure backup in case my second choice was picked. And you know what's best? The best. I have 5 names above that shows how damn injury prone we are as a club. I have 5 names. I've got Carney Chukwuemeka, I've got Chilwell, Lavia, Fofana, and Reece James. And
I completely forgot about Chilwell.
See what I mean? The reason that they're down on this list as an honourable mention was because Ollie said it before, the best ability is availability. And I feel I see my dentist more times a year than I see any of them lot play. I can't remember when any of them played apart from Reece James.
Thinking about it, though.
Chilwell played a handful of games last season. He played the game against Middlesbrough. He was terrible.
Oh, wow. There we go. Don't remember it.
Doing this episode, though, does make you think, doesn't it, that
we suck.
No, we've got a hell of a lot of players who you can't really trust.
Yeah.
You can't rely on them.
Yeah, which is probably part of the problem as to why we keep struggling so much, that these players, you wouldn't bet on them to do well.
No. It's a shame.
We just struggle to do an episode. We just struggle to do an episode of people who aren't in the Last Chance Saloon.
Yeah.
And Chelsea have recently bought the Last Chance Saloon and are subsidising it, amortising it over a 5-year period.
Oh, you got to do it.
I did have one other Last Chance Saloon patron as well, and arguably they're not even the patrons, they're not even the managers, they're the owners of the Last Chance Saloon. That is, of course, Todd Bowley and Badad Egbali, and of course as well the sporting directors Lawrence Stewart and Paul Winstanley. Because, and not because they'll be out if
I love that
badly, because that's not the case. They're going to be here for 10 years or however long, however long left on our sentence there is, and but the thing is, if it doesn't go well this season, I think people will stop giving them the benefit of the doubt. People will stop seeing like the good things that do happen and that they do, and they'll start like just doing what most people are kind of already doing, which is kind of hounding them on the bad stuff. But that will happen to the extent it will take over the rest of the fan base. And I think once a fan base completely goes sour on an ownership, it's really hard to right that ship again. So in terms of the Last Chance Saloon, like they are the owners of the Last Chance Saloon in more ways than one.
It's interesting. Go on, Chris.
So I don't think either. I don't think they'll be able to continue with this model that they're doing of signing a lot of like the best young talent if we mismanage the young talent we already have. Because if you're a young player and you look at like Leslie Ugachukwu for a prime example, he was a hot prospect who had a good season in France. We've signed him, sort of mismanaged him in a way. Same with Andre Santos. If Ugachukwu was to go out on loan and have another shit loan like we love doing with players, and Santos was to get sold, for example, if you're a young player, then Chelsea can call him. We're not offering massive wages now because we know there's a wage structure, so they won't come to us for the money. You'd look at it and you'd think, actually, I might go somewhere else instead. I might go to a Tottenham or an Arsenal, or I'll go to Spain and go to Villarreal or whatever. Or the Bundesliga, where they love nurturing young players. I think the door's closing on this if we continue to misuse the young players that we do sign. you can't just stockpile them, never
No.
use them, and keep expecting the good ones to join because they won't.
Good
Because
shout.
eventually they'll think, well, I'm not going to get in the team there, so I won't bother.
Yeah, and I think as well, like the you're right, Chris. I think that's the perfect phrase. The door is closing because people are going to stop giving them the benefit of the doubt because the first couple seasons it's like, oh, it's a transition and everything's new and they're bringing in new people and all of this other stuff. And we've had a few sort of hiccups along the way that have delayed that process. But now, according to the owners, we have the guy we want for the next 5 years. We've got Enzo Maresca in charge. He was chosen by the sporting director specifically. It was signed off by the owners. We're getting in players that he wants. We're doing all of this around him and around exactly how they've drawn it up.
Yeah, that was so late. I'm so sorry. I hit that literally when you said 5 years. It was so delayed. My word.
And I think so. We're starting to run out of time in terms of we're going, well, like how long are you actually going to be here before something starts to turn good? Before you about talking about a 4-window thing and being challenging in 2 years. Then it's 3 years. Then it's 4. Then it'll be 5. Then it's 7. Then it's 10. It's so easy to just put it off and keep going, oh, well, next season something good will happen. Or next season we've got Estevao and we've got Paez coming. Or the season after that where we've got someone else coming in. Like, eventually the door is going to shut. Those saloon doors are going to smack them on the backside.
Funny
and it's just not going to go well.
You saying that? Sources close to Kepa confirm that he's training separately with Chelsea's first team stars after reporting for the start of pre-season. That's Kieran Gill of the Daily Mail. So he's definitely out, isn't he?
He most likely is getting sold, but I also do think that it might be wrong for him to do that. Like if you do want a passing goalkeeper, Kepa's better than Sanchez. He's rubbish with his hands, but at least he's better than with his feet.
Right.
He's no worse than Sanchez with his hands.
Yeah, exactly. It's one of the. But like I said, the top of the episode, I still think it's wrong in general because I don't know, players should get the guarantees.
I'm going to do that as the poll on the Spotify podcast episode: Kepa or Robert Sanchez, who's the better keeper? See, that'd be interesting.
That will be interesting.
Yeah, right. Christmas questions.
Well, actually, you should make a third one. It should be Kepa, Sanchez, and then the dog and pheasant goalkeeper.
Oh, you know who'll win. Right. Super TNT 610 on the Discord has asked, which players who would have been on a make or break last year managed to perform well enough? Oh. Hey, I could think of one. I had Marc Cucurella. Everyone else was either sold or had not been really long with us to judge. I was like, nope, sold. Oh, he went. Koulibaly. Oh, he was sold.
I think that's a good shout. Do you know what's an interesting one? I actually think Wesley Fofana has avoided being on the Last Chance Saloon a little bit because he's been out.
He has.
Because he's been out for so long, people have kind of forgotten. Like,
honestly, I forgot about him.
Yeah, like people have kind of forgotten about him. And last season, you never know. He might have played well. He might not have played well. So, you could have been going into this season with him on the Last Chance Saloon. But instead, like Mikey said, he didn't even make it to the door.
No, he did not.
I think a lot of our good performers from last season, though, was new players. I don't really think there was many from the season before who actually stood up and did more. Yeah, you look at, we had Jackson, Palmer, Caicedo,
Gusto.
Yeah,
they was all new.
That's true. Yeah, that's
maybe our signings aren't that bad, actually.
No, I'm one right. I've got Julian who's asked, with all this investment in youth and you talk make or break, where does Harvey Vale fit in? I put he doesn't.
Who? Harvey Vale.
Yeah.
Remember him?
Yeah,
he'll head out on loan. Yeah,
I think he'll be sold.
Yeah, I thought put down that he'd be sold next year, but
he is another one, Harvey Vale, who fell victim of the loan system.
Yeah, and he missed his chance to get a move away.
Yeah, I remember when he came in and everyone was really excited and the usual people on Twitter was making up, compilations of what he'd done for the under-18s and he was the next Hazard. Then he ended up going on loan and then ended up playing left back for Hull. So you think, oh, okay, great. Yeah. And now, I can't even tell you where he was last season.
Huddersfield or something?
Bristol? I don't know. I'm going to look this up, actually. Harvey Vale last season was at forgetting he was at Bristol Rovers.
Oh, it was a Bristol.
So I said Bristol. I had 2 clubs
And
here.
did nothing there. So
He played 39 games and scored twice. Come on.
Yeah, okay. Not pulled
That's
up
what
any
I mean.
trees, has he?
No.
Like,
No.
you know, yeah, Chris is really
Yeah.
right. You know, someone like Harvey Vale, I'm not sure when you've got this kind of model, which already kind of disincentivizes people coming through the academy anyway, and then you're not pulling up any trees when you do get the opportunity to go out on loan, you're not going to last long. Oh,
No.
yeah.
Who was the last? So just before we go to the last question, who was the last player we sent out on loan and they came back a better player?
Reece James, Mason Mount.
Conor Gallagher.
Oh,
Gallagher did have like loads of
He was so
average
good.
loans before the Crystal
Oh,
Palace
that
one, though.
Charlton
Oh, he was all right
Athletic.
at Welsh. He was all right at West Brom.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, but then
What,
like he was at Charlton, Swansea.
hear
You
me
know,
out
he
here.
had a lot of clubs.
We're not going to necessarily know until pre-season, but I reckon Bashir Humphreys might come back in and do it.
Possible shout.
You know, like I think he's a quality player. Last season in pre-season, he looked quality, and he's got under a whole season under his belt for Swansea. Was it? I think he was playing for on loan.
Yes.
And so I think he'll be ready for another for either a lower tier Premier League loan or
We don't have a great hit rate though, do we? With loaning out young players and then getting them back as a better player.
No. Alexander has asked finally, after seeing this week's training footage, has your opinion on Maresca changed or stayed the same?
I think if anyone has changed their opinion on Enzo Maresca after not a game, not a week, not a month, like not a season or anything like that, after one training session where the club has put stuff out on social media specifically to make him look like the guy, you are a sheep. You know, and you may as well just follow with the rest of the sheep because, you know, because your mind is swayed so easily by the things that come right in front of you. Like all he was doing, like I remember people were quoting the tweets. I saw this and they were saying, "Oh, you know, thank God we finally got a tactical manager in. You know, finally we got someone who's going to do tactics and all this stuff." He was doing basic 1-2 drills and stuff with them. Like,
yes, he was. Yeah,
it's not complicated stuff. And we were doing stuff like the Gaken test and the bleep test and stuff, which Malagusto won or whatever it was. Like, you know, this is all basic first week stuff. Like, how can anyone's opinion on Maresca change after that? Like, how? No, Mikey.
Danger.
Mikey.
He's like a mini Pep, Eddie. He looks like Pep. He acts like Pep. He trains like Pep. He's Pepsi Max. But look,
the thing is, go on, Mikey.
Chelsea love Italian managers. Some of our best managers been from Italy, and I do like seeing him actually involved in training. And he should be full of motivation. I'm a little bit excited to actually see a manager get involved. I mean,
has it changed your opinion on what you think he is as a coach?
No, but I do feel like you feel you would be more motivated around him. Like, I mean, and you've already heard players say he's tactical, not just focused on bleep test scores, which made me think, was Poch basically run some more? Oh, by the way, can you run again?
That's kind of what Caicedo said in those comments.
Yeah, that's why I'm sort of like, oh, maybe something here, maybe.
But at the same time, I would say our two best managers, Mourinho and Ancelotti,
good shouts,
are the complete opposite of that. They're
and
very
yet
standoffish
neither
in training.
won a Champions League for us.
You know, they're
Maresca.
You didn't see them bouncing around on the training pitch full of energy. And you know, Ancelotti probably put together the best attacking team Chelsea have had, certainly under the
he was probably having a cigar when...
and you know, Mourinho will always be our best ever manager. So
correct.
I agree with Ollie. I don't care what the club put out because they only put out what they want you to see.
Yes, agreed.
They wouldn't put out the bad stuff.
They're not going to put out a bit of like Tosin Adebayor like looking confused and acting like what he's supposed to do, is it?
Yeah.
Like,
I also watched an interview with Maresca where he was talking through the tactical approach he had at Leicester. It was really interesting. And a load of people, there was comments on that and they was all very excited. But I also watched the same interview with Cesc Fabregas, and he spoke brilliantly as well.
True.
They all understand football. It
'Cause they're all
doesn't mean
media
it's going to
trained.
translate.
It's a bit
Yeah.
like employing, you look at people who have got degrees but no experience. It's kind of like you can write
is.
a report on it, but can you actually do the job itself?
Yeah, exactly.
That is the
Yeah,
perfect analogy, actually. It is exactly the same as having someone who's got the qualification but hasn't got the experience. So how well do they adapt to changing situations?
That's fair, yeah. Right, well, we're going to move. We're going to move because he's not here. That's not really our issue, really, is it? It's Lone Army time. Oh, yes. Everyone knows the rules. Category, though, is they cost how much? So, Manchester City and Manchester United have been responsible for signing 12 of the 20 most expensive defenders in Premier League history. I just want you to name the full 20. And I'm going to go to Ollie. I need a name.
Harry Maguire.
If you get the fee as well, that's just showing off. But
he was 80 million, wasn't he?
he was
Harry Maguire.
indeed, exactly. You don't have to get the fee every time. I'm just joking.
Ruben Diaz.
Yes, 62.1.
Oh, I'm struggling already. What shall we go with? Oh, I've drawn a complete blank.
Most expensive defenders in Premier League history, and you've named one.
Varane?
No.
They got the van for free, didn't they?
Oh,
No.
Jesus.
What
I've had
the
a
hell
howler.
was that?
I've had a howler.
Chris, to win it, you just need one name. There's 18 on the list.
Oh, do you know what? I've already thought of about 3 more.
Tough.
I'm pretty sure he was expensive and absolutely shite. Benjamin Mendy.
Oh, and he's won it at 49.3 million. Chris has walked it. Go on, Ollie. Who was your names there?
Gvardiol.
Yeah, 77.6.
John Stones.
Yes, Stones. Was Mangala on there?
7.5. Mangala was 41.9. He's on there.
Yeah, god damn it. I can't believe that.
You're going to hate. Keep going.
João Cancelo.
João Cancelo, 60 million.
Yeah.
Aaron Wan-Bissaka.
Yeah, he was
45.
60
45.
45. I thought he was like 60 million.
Luke Shaw.
He's not on there anymore.
No, he was only 30 million. That was expensive at the time, but it's a drop in the ocean now, isn't it? That.
Yes.
Lisandro Martinez.
49.
Yeah. Yep.
You know what? I'll give you the rest of the list. And you could have said Emerick Laporte, 57 million. Ben Chilwell, 45. Ben White, 50. Christian Romero, 42.5. Davinson Sanchez, 43. Cole Walker, 45. Marc Cucurella, 56. Max Kilman, he's just made the list, 40 million. Nathan Ake, 40 million as well. Virgil van Dijk, 75. Shocking you missed that one out. And can you name the other player who's very expensive? And he was recently signed 2 years back.
Oh, Wesley Fofana.
Wesley Fofana, 69.5.
Do you know what?
That's
do you know what?
appalling.
You went to me first, and I just panicked.
Chris, do you know what
I'm
that
not
means?
going to lie. Hold on, just before you, I thought we was only naming Man City and Man United ones.
For the listener here, I'm just going to put out Man City and Man United have been responsible for signing 12 of the 20 most expensive defenders in Premier League history. Can you name the full 20?
Oh, see, now what happened was you said Man United and Man City, and I instantly switched off from what you were saying.
You still saved it though with the Mendy pick.
Yeah,
so
yeah.
Fair play.
I did.
I like that. You didn't go with Virgil van Dijk to pack me in. You just went with Mendy, like the most
Very
niche,
obscure.
Yeah.
Chris, you've just joint first with 6 with Berth. You're all on 6.
Oh, it's the devil's number.
He's done well. Here,
Do you know what? Do you know what though? I actually think Berth probably wins that.
Yeah,
if he was here. But then availability is the best ability.
Oh
my god!
Berth's getting the Romeo Lavia treatment.
I've done a quick one here. I've got Hazard's headlines because I like to put one in. Here's the clues. 1, he has played for 10 clubs in his career so far. You ain't getting it off that. Could be a Chelsea loanee. He has played with iconic names like Robert Lewandowski, Cristiano Ronaldo, Radamel Falcao, and Fabian Delph. No. Okay. Okay.
One of these things just doesn't belong here.
Today it's his birthday. He turns 33. No. I put that as third because I thought you might have seen something on Twitter or something and gone, oh yeah, it's his birthday today. And they show something.
No,
right. Some of his individual honours include Monaco's Player of the Year, Champions League Squad of the Season, Bundesliga Team of the Season, and the Puskas Award.
Oh,
is
it James Rodriguez?
And the fifth clue is his Puskas goal was scored in Colombia's 2-0 win over Uruguay at the 2014 World Cup. And he's not in the news 'cause it's his birthday. That'd be boring and lame.
I've redeemed myself, I think.
He broke the record this week for the most assists in a single edition of the Copa America with 6 in 5 so far, surpassing Messi's record from 2021. I don't even know. He plays for Sao Paulo at the moment.
He's a completely different player for Colombia, isn't he? He's
he's so good.
Player.
2014
he's like
Rodriguez.
That, he's like that Mexican goalkeeper.
Ochoa. I love him. Yeah.
You'd never saw him
that Mexican
unless
striker.
he was playing in a World Cup.
Ochoa's 38, but I believe he might still play for... I don't think he's retired from Mexico.
Surely
no, he
not.
hasn't.
Surely
I'd love it. I'd love it. Come on. He's got to do it. It's like Muslera for Uruguay. They're just... Their goalkeeper. That's what you think. You think Uruguay, Muslera. You think Mexico, Ochoa. You've got to have them.
Pickford for England.
Yeah. Oh no. I think you can show my age here. I think David Seaman. I was like, England, David Seaman. Yeah. Ronaldinho lobbing him. Yeah. Right. Oh, listeners, we're at the end of another episode. Thank you as always for listening. Treat yourself well. We'll be back Monday because the Euros will have ended. We get to look at our predictions and see how wrong we were. And I know I picked Portugal for a bloody lot of stuff.
I think if I remember rightly, I said England to struggle.
Yeah, someone said only one of us picked Spain in the top 4, I think, because I didn't. I know
I definitely did.
Yeah.
I didn't.
Right. Till then, that is going to be us signing.
You've been listening to At The Bridge Pod, a Chelsea FC podcast. Follow us on Twitter and Instagram by searching for At The Bridge Pod. And if you're listening on Apple or Spotify, leaving us a review is always appreciated.